If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz. Different types who wear a day coat, pants with stripes.
Right, we're in Dusseldorf for a dive show every year. Dusseldorf Germany. There's some diving equipment. Just thought I'd show you around a little. We have a stand down here selling technical diving magazines, and it's in German, and it's called Wetsuits, and I work for these guys getting advertising, people to advertise, and I've been here 5 days. These are some of the guys. The guy in the middle at the back in the black is Frank, speaks perfect English. Don't know the guy on the right, don't know the ladies, don't know the other guy. But it's been very lucrative. I get 20% of all advertising, and I've sold, I don't know how much, but I'm up to, so far, around 3,000, so I made €3,000 in it'll be 5 days by the time I finish tomorrow. And a lot more to come, because more of these people are going to sign. So, I don't know, we can have a walk around a bit. Show you some of it. It's very crowded today. It's Saturday today, 26th of January. So all sorts of diving holidays you can get. Cave diving there, look on the screen, in wonderful places, exotic places. Then there's serious diving, like technical diving. This is a diving magazine. These are technical guys here. And then not so technical there in the background. These wetsuits are just for weekend divers and stuff. The really serious guys is Holiday Dive Point, Red Sea. This guy, I'm sure I'm going to sign him up for a advertisement, so I'll get 20% of that too, whatever he takes. Not sure what he's taking yet. Maybe a full page, half page, quarter page, we'll see. And then you can see how big it is. It goes on forever. It's just one huge hall, and this, by any stretch of the imagination, is not big. There's one in the USA every year called DEMA, D-E-M-A, Diving Equipment Marketing Association, and that's about 5 times bigger than this. And they have a stage that they interview people about diving equipment. I was on that stage last year myself, talking about diving the wrecks at Scapa Flow. I've got some film somewhere, so I'll put it on with this or after this. Might be a bit interesting for you. There you can see the big screen divers, cave diving. It's not all about technical diving. It's a lot of it's like this equipment is just for beginners, really. People who are not serious, just go on holiday 2-3 times a year and want to do a bit of diving. A lot of it's that, but then you get the more technical stuff like this I'm coming up to now, and you can see like this. This is nothing. They'll have 2 bottles on the back, and then these 2 stage bottles here on the front, so a lot of weight. And they do serious stuff like cave diving, deep deck wreck diving, deep diving, and you've got to have good equipment for that sort of diving. And here's some technical gear. Look, there you see the, probably might be O2 that, or oxygen for decompression, and then the double 12s. Double 12 litres on the back, sorry. really interesting stuff. That's the real hard end of diving, and you need good equipment and not cheap shit, because you're going to put your life at risk when you're doing 150 meters deep. It's a long way, 450 feet, 500 feet. And then there's some more guys we spoke to. Atomic, they make great regulators, technical stuff. Here's more technical stuff. This is what we call a rebreather, and this is a rebreather with a bailout system. In other words, if your rebreather goes wrong, you've got the 2 bottles you can bail out with. But essentially what the rebreather does, which is the thing in the middle here, I'll try to go around and show you. There. That's the rebreather in the middle there. Essentially what that does is there's a chemical in there called sophnoline, and the sophnoline, what that does is you breathe, and the expelled air goes around and circulates through that cylinder, and the sophnoline takes out the CO2, and then what's left is the air, and it's topped up with oxygen, and then it's recirculated, and you breathe it again. Hence it's called a rebreather. Sometimes if that goes wrong, then you bail out with these cylinders here. So you've got a backup system basically. Everything's really technical. Got to know what you're doing. If you don't service it right, you don't change that sophnoline, you're dead. Because you can just go to a certain depth, and then it's okay, no problem. If you're at depth and you've not serviced it right, and you start to breathe carbon dioxide, that's because you've not changed the sophnoline in it, then you just pass out, and then that's it, you can forget it, you're dead. So it's now you know why it's called technical. That's the technical side of stuff. Then you've got just the recreational side of stuff, lamps, etc. Here, different types of lamps. I don't know if they're green force. Yeah, green force. Thought there was.
Then you get 10%.
I should be talking to these people about advertising, because that's a technical torch. But let's have a little bit of walk around. Cameras. Now look at that. That's what a camera that is. The camera housing, the camera's inside there. Obviously it's got to be waterproof. Battery packs waterproof, lights are waterproof. Very expensive kit, and technical divers use that too. Here again is another rebreather. You can see there, look, there's a rebreather. Old one that is. There's different types, different functions, but all very, very technical stuff, and you've got to know what you're doing. And you can do, you see what this will allow you to do, because it's a rebreather, you can keep breathing it, you can stay down longer, less decompression to do. And it's great stuff to use. So I'm going to go back to this green force and have a work with him. Maybe I should have a walk around. I don't know. Here there's diving suits. Look, these are wetsuits. I'm going to show you the difference between a wetsuit and a dry suit. That's a wetsuit hanging up there. What that does, you get inside, and there's seals on the ankles, a little bit of a seal on the arms and the neck, and that allows the water to flow in, traps it inside, and it heats up to your body temperature, and it keeps you warm. And you'd be surprised how warm they are. Some of them in extremely cold water, they're like semi-dry suits. You keep half dry and half wet, let in very little water, and they keep you reasonably dry, but a little bit wet, but very warm. And let's go and have a look at a dry suit. Let's see if we can find a dry suit. These are wetsuits here, and then I'll tell you the difference. There should be some dry suits here. Here we go. There, these are from Canada. These dry suits. There, look. Okay. And then you see here, for example, there's let me just come back a bit. That's that one with the red arms. This one is what they call a tri-laminate material. It's a waterproof material. They have seals on the arms, and you put your hand through there and it's sealed on the wrist. It's got boots incorporated so your feet don't get wet. It's got a neck seal here that seals around your neck and does not let any water in. So you're totally dry in this, whatever depth you go to. If it's maintained correctly and all the seals are working fine, you can go down in this in your suit if you want, like Mr. Bond, and you come out completely dry to whatever depth you want to go. But then you have these valves. This is to put air in. Now you put air in because when you go down, each 10 meters you go, you're going 1 atmosphere, and so the pressure increases on your body, and you get what you call suit squeeze. It's like something is squeezing you. So the way to compensate for that is to put air in through this. This is a hose goes on there, which goes then to the tanks on your back, and you press this button, and it allows air to flow into the suit, and it takes the suit squeeze away, keeps you a little bit warmer too. And then when you're coming up, that air that you've pumped into the suit, it expands, and it makes you very buoyant. And if you get too buoyant, you come to the top too quickly without doing decompression if you've done a long dive, and then you get what's called the bends. So this releases the air from your suit, and it's got different settings on. You can close it off, which is not always the best thing to do, but this is an automatic valve, and if you close it off, it will only go to a certain pressure and then it will blow off. So that's the function of that that valve there. And that valve is made by Cytec in Sweden, and it's a company that I work for, and I'm partly responsible for that design because I spoke with the designer. His name is Stig Inseland, and Stig invented this valve. He lives and is a Swedish person, and he invented that valve, and I used to sell them for him in the UK. But the old ones were very, very old-fashioned, and I persuaded him to make a new design, and that's the result. And he's selling quite a lot. This one is a push valve there, and that lets the air in there, or you can have something on the hose where you can push the air in. So that's the difference between a dry suit. This is a dry suit, but it's a different material. It's neoprene, like the same stuff as what wetsuits are made of. You know, like this rubbery type, spongy stuff. It's called neoprene. That keeps you a lot warmer. You don't need as much clothing underneath, inside the suit, like underwear. But with this one, you do. You need what you call an undersuit in there, which is filled with foam and stuff and designed to keep you warm. But the more stuff you have on like that, the more buoyant you are, and that means that you need more lead weight around your body. So sometimes with your tanks and your back plate and your torches and all the stuff, you look like a Christmas tree, and then on top of that you need maybe 15 or 20 kilo of lead around your waist. Some of these things incorporate lead into the bladders, and I'll show you what a bladder is. These things here, look, these are called Ziegel wings. These are made in America, and you see they have the pockets here, and you can put lead in there, so you don't have to actually wear a belt around you. So you put your lead weights in there, and you can dump them. So if you get into problems and you really need to go to the surface quick, you pull a cord, which is there, and that releases the lead in the pockets. So in other words, you're not losing all your equipment, and then you go to the surface very quick. But that can also be dangerous too. So this is a bladder made by Ziegel Wings, and you fill this with air, and you get neutral buoyancy. So in other words, if you're at 20 meters and you find yourself going down because you're too heavy, you can compensate two ways. You can compensate by pumping air into this bladder, what we call a bladder, or you can compensate by pumping air into your suit. I mainly use my suit and really use the bladder. But the bladder has another function, and that is when you're at the surface, let's say you get lost at sea, and I've been lost at sea, you can fill this thing up with air, and for sure you're not going anywhere, you're not going to go down. So you fill that up with air and you're very, very buoyant on the surface, and that saves you. Anyway, that's a quick run of the equipment. Different fins, different types of fins, different masks, different regulators. Here's a regulator. This is a very good model called Atomic, and this is the first stage, and this attaches to the air bottle with this thing here. There's a rubber thing on there, I'm not going to take it off. It's got a thread on it, and it threads into what you call a din fitting, which is already on, which is the valve on the bottle, and then it's secure, it won't come off. You can see the thread on it there, look. And then this is the second stage. This is the part you put in your mouth, and it has a purge valve here, so you can purge it by pressing it on the front, and that will give you extra air if you need it. It's very rare that anybody uses that, but sometimes you do need it. If you're out of breath and you're just not sucking enough air, then you need to press that purge button. But it's also good, that purge button's good for lift bags. The lift bags are used for lifting weights from any depth. You can get to a certain depth. Let's say you find a porthole, you can tie a lift bag onto a brass porthole that weighs about 20 kilos or something, and then you take your regulator out and you purge this valve into the lift bag, and it fills up with air, and up goes the piece that you're trying to retrieve. There's kit bags. Anyway, I think you've had a good explanation on how all this equipment's worked. Very quick, I know, but I can't do any metal detecting, so I just thought I'd come and show you how some of this stuff works. Great shows. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will post something else. When I was on the stage last year, I'll post that on here too. So that'll be following this. So hope you've enjoyed it. Take care.